What up YouTube, it's Alex Combow here from Snowbound Apothecary. I want to talk to you guys about leads. So the three different questions that you need to ask when you're tracking leads are what, where, and how. What information do I need? Where do I put my information? And how do I find the information? So let me just start off by saying that these categories are going to be for different levels of people with lead tracking. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the description different timestamps for the different parts of the video. So let's start first of all with what. So what information do you need when you're tracking leads? The very first thing you need to know if you watched my marketing video last week is you need to know if you are dealing with business to business, business to government, or business to client. So if you're dealing with business to business, you need to know what the name of the business is that you're tracking. If you're dealing with business to client, you can skip this part altogether. If you're dealing with business to government, you need to know what the name of the general large agency of the government is and what the name of that subdivision is, because usually the government works in a larger agency and then a smaller agency, and then you can track down from there. So after you have this information, you need to catalog the POC or point of contact's name. So the point of contact is going to be the person that you talk to, maybe the marketing director, maybe the CEO, founder, whoever it can be. Just try to make it not the receptionist. After that, you need to know their email address of the person you want to talk to. If you find an info@ email address on their website, then that's fine. You can use the info@ email address until you get a better email address, and then you want to change the address to be somebody's actual personal email address so that you can knock out the gatekeeper altogether and not worry about having to deal with the general receiver of all this information, because they can decide in whatever way, whatever mood they're in, how they want to distribute this information out. So, point of contact name, email address, phone number. Phone number should be the cell number of the person you're trying to contact and not the business's phone number. But if you don't have their direct cell number right now, then put the business's number in there first of all. And when you call them, ask for the point of contact by name and have a reason why you want to talk to them. Okay, so next you need to know cold, warm, or hot. Is this a cold lead? Have you never talked to this lead, or maybe only talked to them once or twice before? If you've talked to them once or twice before and they don't really have an idea of who you are or what you're selling, then they're cold. They're warm if you've talked to them a few times before and they're kind of coming around to the idea of what you're selling, but they're not ready to close yet. They're hot if they're almost ready to close or if they are ready to close. You shouldn't always close a hot lead, but you should always know if they're ready to close or not. So the next thing you need to know is how many times you've contacted them. The average amount of time to close a sale with a lead is 12 times. So I like to keep this number from 1 to 15 just in case it goes above average and in case it goes below average. Because every industry is a little bit different, it's good to keep track of this information. Now the next thing you want to know is what is their preferred method of contact? So do they like talking on social media platforms? Do they like email? Do they like phone? Do they like Skype? What do they like? How do they like contacting? Maybe they just only communicate when you're face to face with them, or maybe they only communicate when you're on the phone with them. So keep this information recorded. Also, while you're on top of their favorite type of communication, record any additional notes that you may have with them in case any other person follows up with the lead. If you have a good lead database, then you're probably looking at thousands of different leads. So that means that you need to take notes, general, small snippets of notes that you can keep track of, that you can say, okay, this is where they're at in the process, so that when you call them and you follow up with them, you have this information on hand and you're ready to sort of dish this information out like you just spoke with them yesterday. Even if you've called 100 other people in between, you need to keep notes on hand about what is special about this client. So now the next thing you need to know after you know the what is you need to know the how. How do you organize all of this information? You could do it in Google Sheets, you could do it in Excel, you could do it in Smart Sheets, or there are programs that you can buy. If you do it in a sort of spreadsheet, then you need to kind of combine all this information that I just told you into one sheet and try to make it easy to click, easy to access, easy to record all this information, so that when you're going down the list of calling people, all you have to do is maybe click a couple buttons, maybe just type in a number or two, and then type in a shorthand note, and then move on. Because the idea here is to have a list that's so easy, so in-depth for you to call that you just have to go down the list and call the different numbers. You have the point of contact's name, and you have their phone number, so you just call them and you look at their notes and you're ready to go. That's the idea of what you want to do here. Because remember, if you're just calling people based off of a notepad that you have, you're gonna look at that notepad and say, oh, I'm calling Bill. This is what I know about Bill. Oh crap, he did this one time, and that kind of makes me a little bit iffy on calling him. So when you have a giant database, it kind of gets rid of those nerves, because you know, oh, this is just lead 1 out of 5,000. This is just lead 500 out of 10,000. It doesn't really matter if I screw up. So you want to build this database strong so that you can master your sales call. Absolutely 100% master your sales call, because you have so many leads, there's no problem with you screwing up. That's how I see it, at least. Other people may see it differently, but ultimately this is what you want to do. So you want to categorize cold, warm, or hot, and then you want to save a special section for uninterested and save a special section for sold. So if they're uninterested, you want to catalog the information as to why they're uninterested so that you can use that information to sell somebody else later on. Maybe keep a copy of the file that you used for your sales pitch when you called them, so that you can keep track of the statistics, how well different sales pitches do, and all that information, and you can have it all accessible to you. And then when you sell them, you also want to have that sales pitch, and you want to have the sold information on there too, so that you know that you can call up them whenever you want, and you can see if they want to buy a different product from you. Now, the third category is how to find this information. How do you find information like this? Well, great places to go are, if you are a government agency, go to FBO. Establish yourself a profile so that you can look at the different government agencies, and go to fedbizops.com or fbo.gov, I think is what it is. Yes, it's fbo.gov. Go to fbo.gov and then look at the information that they have on there. You can see your competitor information, you can see the agency information, you can see all that good stuff. And whenever they put up solicitations, you can look at their solicitation information. If you're doing business to business, then you can look at yellowpages.com. You can look at specifically large cities that have businesses listed in that city, and you can go there and access the information there, and it'll typically have the point of contact's name, maybe their address, and definitely their phone number. So from there, you can Google the company's name or Google their phone number if their name is kind of generic, and then you can find their website and take more information from it. And you can also find out if maybe they actually went out of business between the time that they put themselves in the yellow pages and when they didn't. So from there, you catalog all that information in there, and you start building your sheet out. You may want to have somebody who just does data entry, who just Googles this stuff and just types this information in there, and then have somebody else who's just making the sales calls. Whatever you want to do, whatever makes it easiest for you, but ultimately what you want to do to find this information is look it up online. There's lots of resources online, or even get a phone book in your area. It's still a thing. And just keep your ears open for whenever something is going on, whenever there's an opportunity for you to get lead information, and put them in your spreadsheet. Eventually, you'll have so many cold leads that you won't even know where to begin calling them, and you won't ever be able to get through them, and that's good. Because what you want to do is you want to call, 100 cold leads, maybe get 5 sales out of those 100 cold leads, and then from those 5 sales, you start to develop relationships, and you start to make them into stronger and stronger leads, so you could have thousands of cold leads that you don't even access. Or you hire other salespeople who, what they do is they access those leads for you, because you know you're not getting their full potential out of them. But either way, you have this database that's accessible for you with information of potential money that you can make from a lead. And that's another thing that you can put into the category, is how much money you've made off of these leads. But what I think should be actually something different. But anyway, I've gone off topic here. I'm sorry, I kind of got derailed. The third category is business to client. Once again, you can use Facebook, you can use friends of friends, or you can use Yellow Pages. Again, you can get people's information from there and go from there, or you can do the one thing that everybody says not to do, and I say not to do, but it is possible. You could buy leads from other people. I would not recommend buying leads from other people, because I think it's a good idea to build your own lead list, and that's kind of a waste of money, but more power to you if that's what you do. If that's what works for you, keep it going. So that's what I got for the how section. Now the next part that I want to discuss is an actual separate tab or a different spreadsheet altogether of the leads that you've sold to, so that you know how much money you've made from this lead, when to call this lead next. If they say, hey, follow up with me in 2 months, you call them in 2 months and you say, hey, I'm following up with you. You told me to follow up with you. I just want to make sure that we're still good. You just constantly build this connection with this person so that this lead can give you other leads, so you can get away from the cold leads altogether, and from one hot lead from one client you've worked with, you can have 5 different warm leads that come from him, 5 different warm leads that come from their warm leads, and you can keep going that way. And that gets you away from the cold lead market. But if you're just starting out, you've got to deal in that cold market, and it sucks because you're going to get a lot of rejection. Different people are going to tell you no. You're going to hear no 1,000 times before you even hear yes, but that's okay, because what you're doing here is you're learning what works for you. So in a different video later on, I'm actually going to talk to you guys about crafting the sales call and what to do once you're calling a lead and how to know where the lead is at in the process. But this video, I just wanted to talk about collecting the information and actually applying the information into some sort of document or spreadsheet that you have. Because if you're not keeping track, if you're not cataloging this information is ultimately getting lost, because our minds can only hold so much information, and there's no reason to waste all that mental power that we have on keeping track of leads when we have technology that can do it for us. Humans plus computers equals magic. That means the computers can keep track of all this information for us. We don't even have to worry about it, and we can use this mental power for knowing more about our hot leads, knowing more about the people that actually buy from us, and we don't even have to worry about cataloging this information mentally on cold leads, because it can be done for us. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you guys want an access to a solid spreadsheet, send me an email at snowbound.apothecary@gmail.com and I'll hook you up. And also get a friend to subscribe to this video. So, thank you guys again for watching. Bye.